You're listening to the Valley Labor Report with David Story and Jacob Morrison.
Welcome back to the Valley Labor Report. My name is Jacob Morrison, here with my co-host David Story. Again, the number to call if you'd like to weigh in, talk to us about unions, ask us some questions. The number is 1-866-494-WVNN, 1-866-494-9866. So we're going to move on to some news, some Alabama news. Montgomery hospitals last week announced that they are running out of ICU beds. And, you know, that's just another illustration of how the push to reopen is not about safe public policy. It's about exploiting workers and benefiting the rich. And I do just want to preface this with saying that, you know, I'm not against reopening some sectors of the economy or allowing some people to move back into the office. I think that there are definitely reasons to do that, but there are ways to do that where you protect people who are at risk, and we're not doing that. Like if like we mentioned last week, I think it was, if you get called back for work, no matter what your situation is, if you do not go back, you lose your unemployment benefits. You lose your livelihood. So what if you're a 75-year-old person working at McDonald's who is living on Social Security and they don't have enough money to, that's not enough money to live on, and they have to work at McDonald's to make ends meet. What if you get called back, but you can't, but you don't feel safe? You know, you're 75 years old, you're a cancer survivor, you have COPD or asthma or whatever else these comorbidities are that make COVID-19 a threat. Well, you know, you're just out of luck. You're just out of luck. You got to go back to work. You got to serve these people at McDonald's, and you know, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
And I think that's something that that everybody needs to take into consideration, is the fact that I recognize there's a lot of people that want to get back to work. Mm-hmm. And I know there's a lot of employers that want to get back to work, but there's a lot of employees that are still scared to death. And there's a lot of employees and employers that are not taking those considerations, taking those safety things into consideration. And, you know, my daughter was just asking last week about going to a restaurant. I'm like, look, we're not going to go to a restaurant right now because I still don't trust that the manager in that restaurant, I know how they operate. You of all people know how they operate. And I don't trust that they are taking the workers' safety into consideration, and I certainly don't trust that they're taking their patrons' safety into consideration. So, you know, and the workers if they're being forced back to work, then we both know that people are living paycheck to paycheck. Whether they're sick or not, there's a good chance they're going to go into work. And God knows who they don't have
any choice but to.
Exactly. And I don't want to be the one on the receiving end of the worker being forced in and sick and not knowing whether they have the COVID or not.
Yeah, you know, that's exactly right. And they're passing Kay Ivey passed an executive order that says that, you know, if you're a business, you're going to be protected from liability or whatever. And, you know, that just goes to show, like, this is not about keeping people safe. It's about exploiting workers and benefiting the rich. And you can look at that. You can look at the people that are behind the push, the groups that are pushing this. Save Our Country Coalition, the American Legislative Exchange Council, the State Policy Network. These are all billionaire funded. They're billionaire funded right-wing groups. And you can see it in the solutions that they advocate. The solutions include laying off a quarter of the state's non-essential, quote-unquote, public employees, shuttering local libraries, hiking state employees' healthcare premiums, raising in-state tuition at public universities. I mean, you know, this is just, it's a billionaire fever dream. It's not about safe public policy. It's not about that. It's about exploiting workers. It's about benefiting the rich. It's about making sure that these oligarch donors have more money in their pockets. You know, another thing to talk about, there have been 17 hospitals that have been shut down in the last 10 years. That didn't have to happen. If we had expanded Medicaid, these hospitals wouldn't have closed. We can see that in states that expanded Medicaid, we didn't have we didn't have all these hospitals that closed in these other states. David, you're telling me we've got a caller on the line?
We do.
I can't hear you.
My apologies. We do. One of our sponsors is on the line, actually, wanting to talk about some workers' rights.
Okay, fantastic.
Well, good morning, guys. This is Jack. This is Jack Jacobs. How you doing?
Oh, Jack Jacobs? I can't hear
you. Still there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, this is Jack Jacobs, right?
That's right.
Yes. So Jack Jacobs is an attorney at Maple, Tucker, and Jacobs, LLC, workers' rights law firm. And so what did you want to talk to us about?
Well, just hearing y'all talk about the importance of union safety just really, especially in this time of COVID, is just kind of, I've seen it firsthand how important unions are in this fight. Here in the Birmingham area, mine workers have been very vocal in making sure their guys are protected and socially distanced while they work. And I don't think that would have happened if the union had been there fighting for it from the start.
Yeah, if there's one thing that the mine workers know about, it's respiratory illnesses and respiratory diseases over the past 100 years that they've been struggling to bring in workplace safety.
That's very true. I mean, these guys are, at risk anyway with black lung, but then to have the added threat of getting a COVID disease is just, add so much to that.
Right. And that's exactly right. If these places that are trying to call employees back, if they had unions there, the unions could be there to negotiate the terms of the re-return. Yeah, of the return to work. It wouldn't just be that the employer, I'm Mr. Boss Man and I've got all the power and I'm going to tell you the terms that you have to return to work. Otherwise, not only will you not get a paycheck from me, you won't get unemployment from the state. I will call the Department of Labor to make sure that you're not getting it. That's what our Department of Labor in Alabama has instructed employers to do. If everybody had unions, everybody would be able to negotiate the terms of their return to work. And they like David was talking about, we would have committee women at these workplaces, making sure that people are properly social distancing, making sure that workplaces have proper PPE, making sure that, all of these things are in place, and the return to work would not be nearly as scary for so many people, and it wouldn't be necessary for some people. We could make sure that some people stay off the work site for longer that need to be off the work site for longer. Like I was talking about, those people that have those comorbidities that make the coronavirus a real threat. It's a threat to everybody, but there are people that are more at risk than others.
Yep. And what are you seeing?
I think that's right. And so,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
With the mine workers, they've basically got 65 people normally going down an elevator shaft to start the shift at a time. And they've negotiated where they're going to start staggering shifts and go 60 at a time. They can socially distance and not have to worry about being too close to the coworkers. Yeah. And that's, obviously a lot of burden on the company having to stagger this all out. But, because the union's there to speak out, they're getting these things done. And I'm really proud of what they've done for those guys.
Yeah, that's everything that we're seeing. The same way in my workplace is completely focused on workplace safety. Jacob mentioned the Department of Labor a moment ago, and I'm sure you've been a lawyer, work hand in hand with them a lot, and it's worth mentioning that the Department of Labor in a lot of other states actually look out for the employees in those states. And because of the administration that we've elected in this state, we don't see the Department of Labor working with employees almost at all. They're ostensibly a whipping stick for the employers. And, a lot of people think elections don't have consequences, but that's one of the things that we see consistently across the board is, these appointed positions that are that are supposed to be working for workers, and they're effectively just forcing workers to do what the employers want.
Yeah, that's my experience as well. My involvement with the labor department for the state has been, it's more about labor management than it is protecting workers. And it's just very frustrating.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, it's really frustrating when, ostensibly the state is supposed to be, a representation of the people. It's supposed to be functioning on the people's interests, for the people's interests. And it's true, and this is the state of affairs that we live in. But it's sad to see the state functioning as, the big stick for the boss, for the corporations, for the wealthy elite.
We got about 2 more minutes. Is there anything you want to mention about the mine workers or anything like that y'all are currently doing before we wrap up this segment?
We do a lot of work with those guys when they get black lung and hurt in the mines. That's, a lot of what we do. And so we do get concerned with, making sure these guys aren't getting, COVID disease. And this is affecting a lot of, retirees as well. And that's one thing that we're concerned about is we've had a few retired miners die from COVID disease or get sick from it. So it's something to worry about. It's serious, and we need to take precautions. So, but thank y'all for what y'all are doing and getting this message out. So we appreciate that so much.
Yeah, well, we sincerely appreciate your support. And real quick, if there's other workers that may not be union represented out there that have some issues, with something like that, with black lung or something, is there a number that do y'all work with those folks at all? And if so, is there a number that they can reach you at?
Sure. They can call our office at 205-322-2333. And we work with any workers for, we don't discriminate as far as that goes, but I'm glad to help anyone who's been injured on the job. That's not a problem.
Yeah. We're constantly talking about the same thing. Even though we're extremely vocal and union activists, it's a constant struggle. We work with people on a daily basis in non-union areas to try to help them out, to show them how to file board charges with the National Labor Relations Board and things like that. So, that's good work on everybody's part. Hey,
absolutely.
We certainly appreciate you calling in.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
good luck.
Have a good Saturday.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Yeah, so that was, again, that was Jack Jacobs. He's an attorney at Maple, Tucker, and Jacobs, LLC. He's an attorney for workers. If you've got any problems, reach out to him, mtnj.com. And so we are going to be taking another break right about now. If you want to call us on the other side, again, the number is 1-866-494-WVNN, 1-866-494-9866. This is the Valley Labor Report with Jacob Morrison and David Story. Thanks for listening, folks. If you want to keep up with us throughout the week, you can follow us online. We've got a Facebook page, facebook.com/Valley Labor Report. You can search us on YouTube at The Valley Labor Report. We're on Twitter at Labor Reporters. I'm on Twitter at JacobM_AL. David is on Twitter at Radical Unionist, RADICL Unionist. If you appreciate our work and want to ensure that we can stay on the air, consider supporting us with a monthly donation on Patreon at patreon.com/The Valley Labor Report.